Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of This Week in the World of Football. This is episode number 267 for October 25th, 2020. I'm your host, Randy Snow. On today's show, the playoff teams are set in the Canadian Football League, and did two officials really ask a Bucs player for an autograph after a game? In this week's history lesson, it's part 8 of our discussion of the greatest player nicknames in football history. But I'm not here by myself. Across the table from me, as always, is my son, Adam.
All right, I think we're going to do this whole intro over. Man, you look tired. You sound tired. You're just not bringing the energy today. I know the Lions have got us down. I know the Lions have just beaten us emotionally, and things are bleak. But the world of football turns to you, Randy, sir, in its bleakest moments to give us a high energy, high octane show, and you're just not doing it today. What's up?
I'll try and do better from here on out.
Well, that's not promising. Guess I'm going to have to really step it up this week with the shenanigans.
We are coming to you from the fabulous World of Football Man Cave, located right here in the center of the football world, Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Oh my God,
We're here to promote the game of football in all its many forms, past, present, and future. Our goal is to educate, inform, and entertain our listeners with the glorious buffet that is the world of football. All this while keeping a close eye on the rich history of the game. Thanks for checking out our podcast. We'd love to get your feedback on one of our many platforms: Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, where we post the entire audio portion of this show as well as other selected videos. So let's begin today's show with Adam and the World of Football Scoreboard.
I said to bring the energy, not sound like the narrator from the old Super Friends cartoons. Good Lord. Man, oh man, that was a ride.
Hey, just trying it out.
Somewhere in the middle. Well, I'll let you know when the bat phone rings.
Okay.
All right, we're going to start things off this week, guys, with finally a thrilling Thursday night game in NFL's Week 7. That was the New Orleans Saints taking on the Arizona Cardinals, which saw those Cardinals win 42-34. Finally, a great Thursday night game. I only got to see up till halftime because I have to work the next day. And the fact that Andy Dalton looked great for that first big throw of the game, and then threw two pick sixes in a row was absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, it was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, it was
though.
great.
As long as you didn't have money riding on the game,
Oh yeah,
it was
I wouldn't
a lot
put
of
money
fun.
on that. But yeah, so the Arizona Cardinals come out of there with a win. And we're going to move on to the Sunday slate, which saw the Baltimore Ravens escape the Cleveland Browns 23-20. For a minute there, it looked like they were going to have another collapse.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious. I just can't believe how Baltimore will get these great leads and then just squander them. So they got away with that one, and we'll see them on Thursday night this week, along with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who got embarrassed on Sunday, losing 21-3 against an XFL quarterback and the Carolina Panthers.
Man, who saw that coming?
I don't think anybody did.
Anybody was picking Carolina to win that game. The interim head coach and getting rid of players here and there. And
Right, literally trading their best player,
yeah.
which we'll get to in a second. Because, they traded away Christian McCaffrey, and we'll talk about where he landed in a couple of moments. But, to trade away that guy, they also traded away the wide receiver Roddy Anderson last week after his blow up on the sideline or whatever.
Yeah, he went to Arizona.
And he went to Arizona and played a little bit on Thursday. We didn't talk about him, but so Carolina trading away two big pieces and still getting a win against Tom Brady.
Unbelievable.
Right. I think this is Joe Burrow's world, and we're all just living in it because the Bengals won 35-17. Joe Burrow put up a heck of a first half on Sunday. Just bomb after bomb touchdowns. Dude was putting up numbers, had a perfect passer rating for most of that game. I don't know if he ended with a perfect passer rating, but Joe Burrow has just been lights out clutch the last 2 weeks. So I'm pretty nervous for anybody who's got to play against that dude here on out.
Who'd they beat?
I got to read the final score there. 35-17 over the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay.
All right, moving on. The Dallas Cowboys got a 24-6 win over our beloved Detroit Lions, who were in most of that game. 3 quarters, it was like 6-10. Yeah. The Lions were down. They were always kind of like a few plays away from just hanging in there, but turnovers were the story of this game. Dak Prescott didn't even look great.
No, he didn't.
It was the Lions defense who actually showed up this week for a change, and it was their offense who apparently couldn't get off the stinking bus.
Yeah.
Jared Goff with a couple fumbles. a fumble at the goal line, and then a few bad calls by the referees that I just left shaking my head at. Like, how is that not called?
Right, yeah, when that one guy
there was a tackle where a guy
slammed the running back to the ground.
Slammed our running back into the ground.
No penalty?
No penalty. And he lifted him off the ground, and it was very reminiscent of a time a Lions player, I believe it was Ashawn Robinson, picked up a Dallas running back and slammed him into the ground. Very similar fashion, but flags were thrown immediately, but not in this situation. So I hate believing in the conspiracy theory that the refs are against Detroit.
It's a real thing.
It might be a real thing. But at the same time, you also, as a realistic Lions fan, have to go, your team had so many turnovers.
Yes.
Your team couldn't stop them when they needed to stop them. You made terrible coaching decisions. It's just all that adds up, and then we end up blaming the refs. And I don't like being that Lions fan. I don't like being that fan in general for anything, because you are your own worst enemy, and a couple of bad calls do not derail great teams.
Yeah, other than the shutout 2 weeks ago that Detroit had to New England, I guess it was. Detroit has been in every game, and even in this game here, they were in it until the fourth quarter, and then they just let it slip away. And that's been their MO the last couple of years. You know, they're playing games close. They're keeping it close. You know, the defense is playing just well enough to keep the offense in the game, and after three quarters, you know, then there's a big letdown in the fourth quarter. So
and that's what happened this week.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened this week, and I got a feeling you're going to see that again soon.
We'll see. How about the New York Giants? They're 6-1 after defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars 23-17. Who would have thought that the New York Giants would be 6-1? Unbelievable seeing that.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans got a win over the Indianapolis Colts, 19-10. The big story here is that apparently Colts quarterback Matt Ryan, their big offseason acquisition, is getting benched for the remainder of the season in favor of the backup. I can't remember the backup's name, to be honest with you. Eller?
Yeah, it starts with an E.
Yeah,
I'd never even heard of him.
I don't know if he's a rookie or he's a second-year player, but yeah, you're benching Matt Ryan.
Well, they said there were some health issues also. He's got some sort of an injury, but that's only part of why they were benching him.
Yeah,
not the whole reason.
I don't know. That just sounds sus to me. But yeah, so Tennessee with a big 19-10 win. We'll talk about the Titans a little more later on in the news segment. The Washington Commanders got a good win over the Green Bay Packers. Watched a little bit of this. They almost let it slip out of their fingers, but they were able to hold on there at the end, get the first downs they needed to run out that clock against Aaron Rodgers. They won 23-21 in Washington, so good for them. It was good seeing the Packers.
Oh yeah, I loved it. I loved seeing that. I didn't expect it to happen. You know, I'm glad that it did, but I was glad to see Green Bay lose another game. I just didn't expect Washington to play that well.
Right.
Or did Green Bay play that bad?
Yeah. Then the New York Jets. How about the Jets at 5-2 now, defeating the Denver Broncos 16-9. Russell Wilson did not play in this game, and his Subway sandwich has apparently been canceled at Subway. The Danger Witch. Apparently, they needed to make room on their menu for some other new sandwiches, so they took the Danger Witch off. So if you've been watching that story unfold,
no, I didn't even know anything.
Russell Wilson's just been something else this year, and not in a good way. The Las Vegas Raiders got a 38-20 win over the Houston Texans, and as far as I know, and the video evidence shows that Davante Adams was very careful when leaving that field on Sunday as to not even touch anybody going into the tunnel and into the locker room. The Seattle Seahawks got a nice win over the Los Angeles Chargers, 37-24. How about the Seahawks? They were the last team I expected to be. You know, they lost Russell Wilson. It looks like they were rebuilding, and here they are at 4-3, and they're actually a fun team to watch. Geno Smith has been a very adequate quarterback. You know, been a journeyman for a few years, and now to kind of finally be settled in and really taking this moment. So good for him. All right. Then on Sunday, this was a great game until it got out of hand.
The Sunday night game?
No, we're the Sunday afternoon game, the game before the Sunday night game.
Okay.
The Kansas City Chiefs beat the San Francisco 49ers 44-23.
Oh yeah, we watched a good share of this.
I watched this whole game. The Chiefs, I mean, for a while, they had a couple turnovers out the gate, so it looked like San Francisco might actually have a shot. And they were the ones who traded for Christian McCaffrey. So, in having Christian McCaffrey show up after being traded on a Thursday and actually play in this game, unbelievable. I mean, Christian McCaffrey had a couple of decent runs, but nothing too earth-shattering.
Yeah,
but,
you don't expect a guy that's only been there a couple of days to make a big
no,
impact.
But
Sure, he can.
I was still
he can get a
shocked to
couple
see
of
him
runs
out playing
catches.
regardless, blocking
Right,
and doing all
yeah.
that stuff. Yeah. But this was a close game until, man, San Francisco just kind of imploded at one point, and they couldn't stop the Chiefs. And I thought the 49ers would at least hang in there for all the game, but, man, yeah, once the Chiefs put that dagger in, it was done. It looked bad.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going
to go
to Sunday night. Okay.
to the Sunday night game, which saw the Miami Dolphins and their return of Tua Tagovailoa as they beat the Steelers 16-10. I didn't really catch any of this game.
I didn't either.
I just know that there was a pick at the end of the game with like 16 seconds left to seal the win for Miami as the Steelers were driving. And I'm surprised you didn't watch this game because, well, there was the Game of Thrones House of the Dragon finale on the other night. At the exact same time, and I watched that first. But the Dolphins were wearing their anniversary
the throwback uniform.
And they looked great.
I did see a picture.
50th anniversary, I want to say.
I think they should go back to those uniforms.
I think those are great uniforms. I like I like the current helmet, but I would like it if they went back to that old style uniform.
No, I don't like their helmets.
And that same teal blue, or teal green, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Great colors. It looked great.
No, I do not like their new helmet. I wish they'd go back to the original one that Dan Marino wore. And I hate it when teams change like that. So
I don't mind it, but they also had the end zones with that diamond pattern, I believe, in the end zone. So you would have loved that. That would have been your aesthetic, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And against the Steelers, it would have looked like a classic AFC matchup. All right, and then on Sunday Night Football, definitely didn't see this one coming as the Chicago Bears steamrolled or refrigerator parried the New England Patriots 33-14. I only caught very, very little of this game. Mac Jones got pulled during the game. That backup quarterback, I already forget his name. Zappy. He came in, looked good for a minute, and then apparently he fell apart during the game. But, man, what is up with the Patriots? They have been so up and down. Apparently Mac Jones doesn't even like being there anymore. Bill Belichick's being questioned left and right now. And the Bears, where'd the Bears come from? They look like crap the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're putting up 33 points on a Patriots defense, which has been okay. I'm befuddled.
Yeah, I was too. I stayed up for the end of this game, but I really wasn't paying attention too much to the game, but I was there until the end. I was watching some of the Manning cast for that game. This was the Monday night game. You said Sunday night, but this was the Monday night game.
No, that was the Monday night game. The Sunday night game was the Dolphins-Steelers.
Right, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I had it on, but I wasn't paying too close attention, especially when I saw that Chicago was running away with it. I really wasn't paying that much attention anymore. Good for Chicago.
Yeah.
I just hope
I don't care. They're in our division. I can see them lose.
I don't want to see them play that well when Detroit comes up there in a couple weeks, but good for them to beat New England. Anytime Bill Belichick and Matt Patricia lose is a good day.
Offensive coordinator Matt Patricia now, apparently.
Whatever.
All right, moving on. It was Week 20 in the Canadian Football League. One more week, and then it's postseason time, baby. Yep. Friday night saw the Hamilton Tiger Cats defeat the Ottawa Red Blacks in a close game 30-27, helping Hamilton earn the last CFL playoff spot for the year. Ottawa led this game 21-13 going into the half, and the game was tied at 27 apiece with under 2 minutes to remain in regulation. But, and a big old but, it was Seth Small with a 30-yard field goal as time expired, giving Hamilton the win. Hamilton quarterback Dane Evans completed 16 passes for 220 yards, while running back Sean Thomas Erlington ran the ball 13 times for 104 yards, while wide receiver Tim White caught 7 passes for 113 yards. Kicker Seth Small made 5 field goals during that game, including that game winner we just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Then on Ottawa's side, Nick Arbuckle, the quarterback there, completed 19 passes for 166 yards. Quarterback Caleb Evans also had 2 rushing touchdowns in the game, setting a new CFL record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback in a season with 15.
Yeah, and Hamilton was wearing those uniforms that I can't stand. The gray,
it looks really weird.
The all gray with the black helmet and the gold letter H on the helmet. Yeah, no, they've got a great look. With the tiger cat on the side of the helmet and the black and gold uniforms.
Yeah,
Just stick with that. I don't know if this is their version of a color rush or what.
I don't know what it is. All I know is it's an eyesore, and they should get rid of it.
Yeah, I did not care for it at all. Luckily, it's maybe once a year
I think this is the second time
once
this year.
too many.
I think they wore it 2 times this year.
I don't remember this year.
Earlier this year.
Okay.
Then also Friday night, the British Columbia Lions defeated the Edmonton Elks 31-14. British Columbia led this game 24-7 going into the half and cruised to an easy win over the Elks, who have now lost 17 straight home games.
Yeah, that's rough.
That's very tough. British Columbia quarterback Vernon Adams completed 18 passes for 211 yards and a touchdown, while running back James Butler ran the ball 24 times for 141 yards and a TD. For Edmonton, quarterback Trey Ford filled in for the injured Taylor Cornelius. Ford completed 22 passes for 242 yards, and a touchdown. He also ran 8 times for another 72 yards. British Columbia secured second place in the west side of the playoff bracket with their win and will host a playoff game on November 6th.
Yeah, we didn't know how British Columbia was going to be after Nathan Rourke got injured early in the season, but they still made the playoffs, and I haven't heard
if he's coming back.
Yeah, if he's going to play.
I hope.
I don't know if he's been on the sideline. I thought he was cleared to play, but I'm not sure.
Man,
so,
I'm sure they're waiting for that November 6th. If they can get Nathan Rourke back, all bets are off.
Yeah,
I would put them as my dark horse team.
Yep.
All right. Then Saturday saw the Toronto Argonauts defeat the Montreal Alouettes 24-23 in the first of a doubleheader to end the season for them. Toronto wins the East title for the second year in a row now. So now no chance for Montreal. Montreal needed to win both games in order to win.
Yep, they're out.
I think they already were in the playoffs, aren't they, Montreal?
No. Well,
yes, they are. Looking down at the stand, yes, they are.
Yep. Second place.
Get on top of your stuff.
They had a chance to win the East, but now they've got second place.
Yes. So they needed both of those wins, and now they cannot do it. So now the Argonauts are now your East champions. The Argos were up 7-3 going into the half, and then they were all tied up at 23 apiece with 34 seconds left in the game. But as time expired, it was Toronto kicker Boris Beattie who missed a 41-yard field goal. However, Montreal was flagged for too many men on the field. Toronto was awarded a single point, and the game was over. What a crazy ending.
That was one of the strangest endings I've seen. You missed.
I was wondering if it was going to end up being a ruse.
Yeah, you missed the field goal, and so they have a chance to run it back, and it didn't go out of the end zone for an automatic thing. I saw the guy running around back there, but they had already thrown the flag and stopped the play because of too many men on the field. But shouldn't the play have been done over? Shouldn't they moved them?
NFL rules.
Them up
this is
Canada.
Canada.
I don't know. This is Canada. They're a little bit different.
We're going to need some clarification from our Canadian friends.
But simply,
Tim Capper, I'm sure he knows all about this rule now.
They just awarded them the rouge automatically because of the penalty. Maybe because there was a penalty, they do that. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. But if you end the game like that, maybe
to end the game on a defensive penalty and just award the rouge, and so they're up 24-23, and the referee just goes, we award them 1 point, game's over. That was it.
That's bizarre.
It was strange.
Oh, man. Is Montreal still standing? Is that city not burned down to the ground after this? Tim, let us know you're okay.
Yeah.
Man, oh, man. That's just absolutely nuts.
Yep, that was crazy.
I mean, I saw that was the 1 point win, and,
to win on a missed field goal.
I assumed it was a rouge. I just assumed they won on a rouge, which I was like, that's
they did.
Well, I mean, in a traditional sense, not in a penalty sense.
Right, yeah.
However, okay, so we already did that part. Toronto was awarded a single point. Yep, did that part. Quarterback McLeod Bethel Thompson for the Argonauts completed 20 passes for 240 yards and 2 touchdowns, while wide receiver Curly Gittins caught 7 passes for 117 yards and a touchdown. On the Montreal side of things, quarterback Trevor Harris completed 25 passes for 413 yards and 2 touchdowns, while wide receiver Jake Weineke caught 5 passes for 121 yards and a touchdown. Toronto will host the Eastern Final on November 13th.
Yeah, Curly Gittins also went over 1,000 yards for the season in this game also. So, yeah, good for him. So, Toronto gets a bye, and so they're just going to host the Eastern Finals in 2 weeks. So, I mean, they got one more regular season game to go.
Right.
Probably
against
play
Montreal.
A bunch of backups. Yeah, it doesn't mean anything to anybody.
All right. And then finally, Saturday also saw the Calgary Stampeders defeat the Saskatchewan Roughriders 32-21. Calgary was up 12-6 going into the half, thanks to a combined 6 field goals, 4 by Calgary and 2 by Saskatchewan.
Yeah, all field goals in the first half.
Yeah. How often do you see that?
No.
Wide receiver Mario Alford had a 104-yard punt return for a touchdown in the fourth quarter from, I don't know what team he played for. You didn't write that down.
He was for the losing team, Saskatchewan.
Oh, okay. But it was too little too late as Calgary came away with the victory. Calgary quarterback Jake Mayer completed 15 passes for 205 yards and a touchdown, while running back Dedrick Mills ran the ball 17 times for 103 yards and a touchdown. For Saskatchewan, quarterback Mason Fine made his first CFL start and completed 18 passes for 196 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, and while I was watching the replays of this game, I noticed that Saskatchewan had a defensive lineman with the last name of Christmas on his uniform. And I did a little research. That is DeMarcus Christmas, who played college football at Florida State, and he also spent time with the Seattle Seahawks and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this is his first season in the CFL. But to see that name Christmas on the back of somebody's jersey was just a little odd.
I think of Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber. So, all right. And then on bye this week was the two-time defending Grey Cup champion Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Their next home game will be against the British Columbia Lions to end the season next week.
Okay.
All right, looking at the CFL standings, all the playoff teams are set. There will be no crossover team this year in the playoffs. For those of you who don't know, if the East, since they only have 4 teams, and the West has 5 teams, if the East is not able to have 3 teams with adequate enough records to make it into the playoffs, then a 4th team from the West will move over to the East to take that last spot. So very interesting, the CFL, and luckily I prefer it when there is no crossover.
Yeah,
I prefer to see the East.
It's been a while. It seems like every year that we've been following these and doing the podcast.
Yeah.
There's been a crossover just about every year.
Yeah. All right, but moving on. We're still going through the standings. The Toronto Argonauts, as we mentioned, will play in that East Championship game. They'll get a bye. They're 11-6 on the year, followed by Montreal at 8-9, who will host the Hamilton Tiger Cats in that first round game. I assume as long as
Yep.
Is that for sure? For sure.
Yep.
Okay, locked and loaded. All right, and then Hamilton 7-10, Ottawa 4-13, out of the playoffs, obviously. In the West, on bye this week, we already mentioned the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who are 14-3. They will play in the West Championship game. They already got that bye. And then you got the British Columbia Lions at 12-5, the Calgary Stampeders at 11-6, the Saskatchewan Roughriders at 6-11, and then the Edmonton Elks at 4-14. Oof.
Yeah, rough year for Edmonton.
Yep. Now over to Randy with the college scores of the weekend.
Yeah, we've got college scores. So we're going to start at the FBS level. This was week 8 in college football. Number 1, Georgia did not play this week. Number 2, Ohio State defeated Iowa 54-10. It was number 3, Tennessee beating up on FCS team UT Martin 65-24. And number 4, Michigan did not play either. So let's see. There were some upsets. LSU upset number 7 Ole Miss 45-20. Number 10 Oregon upset number 9 UCLA 45-30. Rice beat Louisiana Tech 42-41 in overtime. And our Western Michigan Broncos defeated Miami of Ohio by the score of 16-10. In the military academies, it was Houston over Navy 38-20. Army over the University of Louisiana Monroe 48-24. And Boise over the Air Force Academy 19-14. From here on in, it's just 3 random scores from each of the lower divisions. We're going to start with the FCS level. It was Princeton over Harvard 37-10. Stony Brook squeaked by Maine 28-27. And Rhode Island over Monmouth 48-46 in 7 overtimes. In Division II, it was Frostburg State over Fairmont State 16-14. Upper Iowa over Minot State 33-22. And Slippery Rock over California of Pennsylvania 42-24. In Division III, it was Alma College over Kalamazoo College 45-21. Ithaca over Buffalo State 51-10. And Albion squeaked by Trine 20-19. At the NAIA level, Number 5, Indiana Wesleyan shut out St. Francis of Fort Wayne, Indiana, 44-0. Number 25, Arizona Christian over Texas College, 81-19.
Ooh, a combined 100 points, though.
81-19. Wow. And let's see, it was Point of Georgia over Union of Kentucky, 16-13. Now we go to the junior college level. Snow College improved to 6-2 by beating the Air Force Academy prep team 42-22. It was Central Lakes over Minnesota West 49-8, and Tyler over Cisco 21-17. Going on up to Canada, where they do play college football, it was the Western Ontario Mustangs over the Ottawa Gee-Gees 38-18. The Windsor Lancers over the Waterloo Warriors 39-11, and the Sherbrooke Green and Gold over the Montreal Carabins 12-5. Finally, in Canadian Junior Football League action, it was their playoffs going on, and it was the St. Clair Saints over the London Beef Eaters 38-7. The Okanagan Sun shut out the West Shore Rebels 38-0. The Regina Thunder defeated the Winnipeg Rifles 23-14, and the Saskatoon Hilltops over the Edmonton Huskies 20-15. That sets up the semifinals for next week, where Saskatoon will be at Regina and Okanagan will be at St. Clair. And that is it for this week's World of Football scoreboard. We're running down, things are kind of winding up. U Sports will be winding down. The
CFL will be winding down.
CFL will be in their playoffs. Yeah, we're going to be talking just NFL here pretty soon, NFL and college. And speaking of the NFL, we're going to talk some NFL news. Washington Commanders season ticket holder Drew Shipley won the 50-50 drawing at the Week 1 game versus the Jaguars on September 11th. But it took him almost a month to get the check.
Right.
He finally received the check on October 13 in the amount of $14,822. And when he went to go cash the check, it bounced.
Oh, no.
He was charged a $15 bad check fee by his credit union for that.
Jeez.
The team then, when they heard about this, the team wired the money directly into Mr. Shipley's account. So he did get his money, but they blamed the bank for the error. Yeah, wink, wink. No word on whether the team paid the $15 bank fee charge that he incurred.
Oh, they didn't even do that. What a stingy. The Commanders are already in the news for not so great stuff for their owner.
Yeah, they don't need any more bad publicity.
Press.
Yeah, bad press. And, man, this was it.
Oh, man.
I mean you and I have been to games before. Western Michigan does a 50-50 drawing.
Yeah, Lions do a 50-50 raffle.
We used to go to the Cleveland Gladiators games, arena games. They always had a 50-50 drawing. Man, some of those...
You go to 50-50 raffles almost anywhere there's a football
game. Some of those amounts,
game.
though, at that arena game got way up there. I mean, I'd say they were
even
more than this.
Even Western Michigan, it gets pretty up there.
Yeah.
So people love their 50-50, especially now in Michigan where gambling's legal. It's even better now.
I've bought some tickets before for the 50-50.
Yeah, you have. And how much have you won?
Nothing. I never won a darn thing. But, you think to yourself, man, that total's really up there. I'm going to, get in on this action. And, of course it doesn't work out, but somebody's going to win it, so why not me? And then the last time we were at the game in Western Michigan, I didn't bother buying.
You haven't bought one in a couple.
No,
times.
No, but I have before. So I can understand. Hey, $14,000, man, that's nothing to sneeze at.
Right. And
to make you wait a month, I read that he contacted the team twice, asking them, where's my check? When can I expect that? And I don't know if he ever heard from them, but he contacted him twice to see where the money was, and he finally received a check in the mail. It was one
and then it bounced.
Registered mail or something like that.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Does people really send checks anymore? You would think that he would have filled out a thing with his bank information, and they just would have transferred.
Nowadays, all you can do, you can give people your Venmo or your PayPal, and bam, it's done right there on the spot.
Yeah. Well, I can see maybe not doing it right then and there, but
I think the fact that the Washington Commanders are using checks should indicate that something fishy is going on over there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, this was a bad story. Washington does not need any more bad press, and boy, this was bad. Okay, after the Tampa Bay Carolina game, this past weekend, a video has surfaced that appears to show two game officials getting an autograph from Bucs wide receiver Mike Evans in the tunnel at Tampa Stadium. Now, you just looked at it a few minutes ago.
I looked at it again, yeah.
And at first, the team or the NFL was saying, "Oh no, he wasn't signing an autograph. He was giving one of the refs his phone number because the ref knew a golf pro that the player wanted to get in touch with to improve his golf game or something like that." And when you watch that video and you see him sign that thing, he's not writing down a bunch of numbers. He scribbles something
unless the
really
phone number
signature
you can reach Mike Evans at is the number 0
and a squiggle.
I don't think that was a phone number he wrote down.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if anything comes of this.
Because I think there's no way people should let this up. I mean, it clearly sounds like they're starting to just sweep that under the rug after they first. I remember Sunday, I saw that video. Then not that much later, I saw immediately the NFL post, "We're going to investigate this right away." Because officials, it is in the rules, officials should not be asking players for any kind of autographs.
I didn't think they were allowed to have any contact with the players after the game.
Yeah, so what right there, that was a big red flag. And I was like, all right, cool, we'll see where this goes. Like, maybe these refs are going to get... Could you imagine if the Bucs would have won that game, though?
Yeah.
The Bucs lost that game. So... I think it would have been a way different had they won it. It really would have been a fire. But, so I don't know how you brush this off and if we'll have to talk about this story again because I just was bewildered that this even happened. Like, I know players and refs talk all the time. You see them during the game,
right?
Chit-chatting or whatever.
Sure.
But I'm surprised we've never seen this before after a game. But
and the fact that it took place in the tunnel,
I think it was like a local radio station or something that caught the video.
Yeah, I don't know who posted it, but
or news station or something got it.
They obviously they waited till they got in the tunnel where nobody could see them, or at least they thought nobody was going to see them, and then approach the player. But yeah, this looks bad. This looks bad for the league and for the refs, and I guess one of the refs he's like a 21-year veteran. This might be his last season, and the other guy is like 17 years. I don't remember exactly. But yeah, this just makes everybody look bad. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, if anything, with this in the weeks to come. And
then you don't have this in the rundown, but you were showing. We're talking about the Tennessee Titans $2 billion stadium finally got kind of like some renderings shown, which actually kind of look pretty cool, pretty unique.
Yeah, some of those just came out. I mean, we talked about it last week, but then they said renderings had been out, but I didn't see any until today.
Yeah. But just looking at some of the pictures, I mean, it looks like a cool, like, very modern outside. And somebody did comment because I saw the inside, and they're like, it's just SoFi Stadium, but on the East Coast, like the way the indoor looks. But I mean, it looks pretty modern. Looks a lot more square than I would have anticipated.
The pictures that I saw were strictly of the outside. I didn't see anything.
Oh, you haven't seen the inside?
No.
The inside, they showed kind of like the same roof style, like the Allegiant Stadium and SoFi Stadium, that kind of glass with the bars underneath it. And so totally indoor stadium. I don't know. The inside did very much look like SoFi though. So I don't know. We'll see. I like new stadiums, and this might give me a reason to go down to see a game in Tennessee now.
Yeah. Well, just because they're renderings, it doesn't mean that's exactly.
That's true. It doesn't always end up like that sometimes, but
it does look pretty nice from what I saw.
But for at least the concept, I'm interested.
Okay. In some college news, the New Mexico State homecoming game was canceled after the death of San Jose State freshman running back Camden McWright occurred in a car accident the day before the game. All other homecoming events went on as planned, but the game itself was canceled. It's unclear at this time if the game will be rescheduled for next year or for another year, as this was the second of a home-and-home series that they had with San Jose State.
Hard to say because like those college schedules, are lined up for a decade almost now.
I think New Mexico State has a bye in their schedule coming up, so they're trying to schedule somebody else, but it doesn't work out for San Jose State. I guess they've already had their bye, or they don't coincide, so it's not going to be this year. But I don't know if their schedule for next year is already set in stone or what. But eventually they'll be playing again because they do have a contract with each other. But yeah, what a sad thing to have happen.
Very
car
sad.
accident the day before the game. So condolences to the Camden McWright family. Okay, let's see. Peyton and Eli's Spooky Adventure. I watched this yesterday.
Okay, so you have not told me anything about this.
Uh-huh.
So that has just led me to believe that you think this was one of the worst things you've ever watched.
It wasn't that bad, but it's your typical Peyton and Eli dad humor kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
But it was filmed on the campus of Notre Dame, and Notre Dame head coach Marcus Freeman appeared. They did another one where they went to Newt Rockney's house a few weeks ago, so they must have filmed this at the same time, or some of it anyway. But yeah, it starts out. Somebody says they saw the ghost of George Gipp going into one of the performance halls or something, because supposedly back in what year did he die? 1920, 1921. He spent the night. He slept on the steps of that building, and that's how he caught pneumonia and how he eventually died sometime later. But the story was that he used to go, sneak out at night, and he'd go to the local pool halls, play pool or play poker. He didn't care that much about college football, but he loved to gamble, and so he was always sneaking out. Well, he'd always leave a window unlocked so he could get back into his dorm building. Well, somebody had locked it that night, so he couldn't get back in. So he slept on the steps of this Washington Hall, I think it was. I can't remember, but. Yeah, so supposedly they've seen his ghost going into the building before riding a white horse or something. They get Jerome Bettis, who's taking a class there at Notre Dame, trying to finish off his degree, and the three of them put on their Ghostbusters uniforms and go through the campus. So, like I said, it was all filmed at Notre Dame.
Since you didn't say hilarity ensues, it was clearly not that funny.
It was okay. There were some guest appearances by Jimmy Kimmel, Coach Lou Holtz from Notre Dame, and Scott Van Pelt. They did a segment of their show. Kimmel and Van Pelt did Sports Center and Late Show or whatever. And so
Tonight Show, come on, Randy.
Whatever, Tonight Show, Late Show, whatever. And so they recorded little bits
no,
for
that's
the
Jimmy
show.
Fallon. Kimmel does late
show, yeah.
Late night with Jimmy Kimmel. Or something
Who
like
can
that.
keep them straight? But yeah, it was okay. The thing I liked best was it actually showed him driving the Ghostbusters car around Notre Dame's campus, and they did talk a lot about George Gibb. They talked a lot about him and his life and what he meant to Notre Dame and all that. So from a history perspective, that was pretty good. The stuff where they talked about George Gibb quite a bit. They did not go to visit his grave up in Calumet, Michigan.
Of course they didn't, because that's not on the Notre Dame campus.
Nope.
So, see, all I keep hearing is, they did really good history stuff, and their chemistry was good. I did not hear anything about it was funny. So
it had its moments.
That's not saying it was funny.
It had its moments.
That's dad speak for. I won't watch it again, but I'll gladly recommend it to everybody like it was the greatest thing ever.
But,
which you've done before.
But we've talked about how we haven't seen a season 3 of Peyton's Places. Well, they announced, or they had something on there, that season 3 of Peyton's Places is going to kick off on Sunday, October 30th. So that's this Sunday.
And you got to be happy about that.
Yeah, I've always liked Peyton's Places. And this particular spooky adventure show is actually going to air on ESPN2 after next week's Monday Night Football game on Halloween night, after the Manning cast.
Well, for people out on the West Coast, congratulations, you get to see it on TV. People on the East Coast, you're going to be in bed.
Set your DVR if you really want to watch this Peyton and Eli Spooky Adventure Halloween thing.
All right, well, thank goodness we're moving on from that TV show to more actual football topics. Am I right?
No, actually.
Oh, my God.
I actually watched an episode of Scooby-Doo and Guess Who. It was one of their season 2 episodes. Yeah, the Who in this particular one was Terry Bradshaw. Huh. And the story of this one goes, an alien spacecraft lands on Terry's ranch in Louisiana. And the only thing funny about this, there's a lot of good football.
Oh my God, he's still laughing about
football humor. Terry. I love Terry Bradshaw, so of course I wanted to watch this.
Oh, you love old Terry Bradshaw,
but
young Terry Bradshaw.
The funniest thing in the show is that he thought that Shaggy and Scooby were the smartest people he'd ever met.
Of course he did.
So he was taking his cue from them. It was funny. So yeah, they've done a lot of famous people. They always have a really famous guest star. Carol Burnett was on there, and a bunch of other.
They've
people.
had Batman. They've had in the
Wonder Woman,
Batman.
Sherlock Holmes.
Weird Al.
Weird Al was on there, yes.
And then
He had an
Terry
accordion
Bradshaw.
camp. Now Terry Bradshaw. So we'll see if they get any more football players. If they
like
do,
this show
I'll
is
report on them.
It's like this show, Scooby-Doo, is made for you.
Hey, I grew up watching it.
And you're how old?
No comment.
It doesn't matter how old you are. It's a kid's cartoon.
I don't know if I ever told you this or not.
Oh
but
my God! Are you?
When I was,
am I going to learn something
when
on
I was
air
a kid,
for the first time?
I got in trouble at school. I don't remember what I did, but the teacher told me I had to write a 500-word essay.
And you said, "Ma'am, I go to Maple Valley. I do not know how to count to 500."
I wrote my 500-word essay. I numbered every word in the essay, so I knew when I got to it. And basically, my essay was an episode of Scooby-Doo. I just retold what happened in an episode of Scooby-Doo. That was my 500-word essay.
What episode was it?
I don't remember.
Okay, now we have to dig up this essay. You're not allowed to get back on the podcast until we have this essay read aloud for everybody to hear.
I don't think I have it anymore. All right, let's move on to some real football stuff. Arena Football.
Oh, now we can move on.
Arena Football TV on YouTube. They just posted a couple of new episodes, and one of them was from 2003. It was the Georgia Force at the Los Angeles Avengers, and the best thing about this was that Eli Gold and former Redskins running back John Riggins were in the booth for this game. So check out Arena Football TV on YouTube. They have over 500 games out there. Pick a team that you've heard of before, and you can watch several games for all the teams out there. Grand Rapids Rampage is a good one. Go ahead and pick them.
Post more Rampage videos.
All right, today's birthdays.
Actually, I'd like to see some more Detroit Drive videos, too.
They did. One of them was Detroit. I'm going to mention that one next week, but they did do another
Spoiler
Detroit
alert, everybody.
Drive.
You found out what next week's
Yeah.
is going to be.
Thanks a lot, Adam.
I didn't know.
Big mouth.
I just show up. I don't know what your plans are. I have zero involvement in the script. I just show up and lend my gorgeous personality to this show.
Yeah.
And then, hey, if it weren't for me, your downer attitude would have really sunk this show like 5 minutes in. So you're welcome, everybody out there. And I am asked what my role is on this show, and apparently it's to keep morale
I ask
up.
that every week. All right, today's birthday.
I should be insulted, but you're not wrong.
October 25th, linebacker Pat Swilling turns 58 years old today. He played his college football at Georgia Tech and was a third-round selection in the 1986 NFL Draft by the New Orleans Saints. Yeah. He played 12 NFL seasons. He was with the Saints from 86 to 92. He was with the Detroit Lions from 93 to 94 and the Oakland Raiders from 95, 96, and 98. The thing about that I remember, at the time, back in 93, Detroit could not make a first-round pick that was worth a darn to save their lives. So they traded away their first-round pick that year to New Orleans in exchange for Pat Swilling, who was a fantastic linebacker. And I thought this was the greatest move they've ever made. Get rid of that first-round pick that you can't pick anybody that's worth a darn. Get a good, solid player in Pat Swilling to come here and help our defense. He came to Detroit. They unretired Joe Schmidt's number 56 to give it to Pat Swilling. There's pictures of Joe Schmidt and Pat Swilling together. He stunk up the place for 2 years, and they got rid of him.
Oh, man.
I mean, even at that, the Detroit couldn't make a decent trade. Yeah, he was a surefire hit because he was a great player for New Orleans, but he come to Detroit, and, man, he didn't.
How often have we seen that?
Lasted 2 years, and he was out of town already.
Yeah, who was the last player that we signed that was a big name like that, and then he was stunk up the place? I can't even remember. We've had so many.
Jared Goff?
Oh, man, don't. Too soon.
The jury's still out on that.
Too soon.
He doesn't have much help.
Because he had one bad game this week.
I know. Okay. The other one, the other birthday today is linebacker Dirt Winston.
Oh, what a cool name.
He turned 67 years old today. He played his college football at Arkansas. He was selected in the 5th round of the 1977 NFL Draft by the Pittsburgh Steelers. He played 10 NFL seasons, and he was with the Steelers from 77 to 81, where he won 2 Super Bowls.
I would hope that a guy named Dirt would win at least 1 Super Bowl. Thank God he got 2.
Yeah, too bad he was playing on artificial surface. Then he was with the New Orleans Saints from 82 to 85, and then he was traded back to the Steelers from 85 to 86. So Dirt Wilson and Pat Swilling, happy birthday to those 2 former players today. All right, moving on, we have 3 obituaries this week.
Well, real quick, I'd like to point out that you did this happy birthday to Mr. Pat Swilling, and then you just totally insulted the dude.
Well, it's his birthday. I mean, I hate to talk bad about him on his birthday.
You did talk bad about him,
but
that's
I
what
did.
I'm saying.
Yes, he didn't help our team out much.
I can't wait for Mr. Pat Swilling to write you a very strongly worded letter.
Did I say we're broadcasting from New York City? Yeah, that's
Kalamazoo, Michigan. He says it right in the opening.
Okay. Let's see.
P.O. Box.
Rural Route 3. Let's see. Obituaries. This is where we take a moment to honor those who have made the world of football a better place. The first obituary is that of Charlie Trippi, a halfback and quarterback in the NFL for 9 seasons, dies at the age of 100.
Man, what a life.
Trippi played college football at Georgia and was named the MVP of the 1943 Rose Bowl. He was selected with the first overall pick in the 1945 NFL draft by the Chicago Cardinals. As a future pick, he still had some college eligibility left, and so he stayed in college for a couple more years. He played his entire career with the Cardinals from 1947 to 1955 and helped lead the team to an NFL title in his rookie season of 1947, and that's the last time the Cardinals have won an NFL championship. Trippi was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1959 and the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1968.
Our second obituary is that of Dave Herman, a guard and tackle in the AFL and NFL for 10 seasons. That's the American Football League. And has passed away at the age of 81. Herman played college football at Michigan State University and was selected in the 8th round of the 1963 NFL Draft by the New York Football Giants. He was also selected in the 27th round of the 1963 American Football League Draft by the New York Football Jets. He played his entire career with the Jets from 1964 to 1973 and helped lead the team to a victory in Super Bowl III. That's 3 for you who don't know Roman numerals. Following his retirement as a player, Herman became a radio broadcaster of Jets football games.
Yeah, how many people have actually been drafted by the Jets and the Giants in the same year? I'll bet there's not too many.
Well,
But he was one of
I
them.
would say since the merger, it's never happened.
Right, but I mean, during the times of the merger, I don't think there were that many players that got selected by the Jets and the Giants at the same time.
Well, you're the football historian around here. Why don't you go find that out? What else are you doing with your spare time besides barely writing this
carrying
script?
your butt through this show. All right,
I didn't ask for
our
that.
last obituary is that of Ken Cortus, a defensive tackle in the NFL for 6 seasons. He's passed away at the age of 80. Cortus played college football at Louisville and was selected as the 9th overall pick in the 1964 NFL Draft by the St. Louis Cardinals. He was also selected in the 3rd round of the 1964 American Football League Draft by the Kansas City Chiefs. He signed with the Cardinals and played for the team in 1964. He then played for the Pittsburgh Steelers from 1965 to 1968 and ended his career with the Chicago Bears in 1969. All right, before we go on to our history lesson, have you happened to see anything that came over news-wise?
No, nothing news-wise really to speak of, so I think we are good to go.
Okay. In our history lesson this week, I think this is going to be the last one. This is part 8 of our discussion on the greatest player nicknames in football history. And the first one on our list this week is running back Craig Ironhead Hayward. When he was young, Hayward got into a scuffle at a pool hall, and someone broke a pool cue over his head. He didn't even flinch. Craig's mother gave him the nickname of Ironhead after that. He played his college football at the University of Pittsburgh and was the 24th overall pick in the 1988 NFL Draft by the New Orleans Saints. He played 11 seasons in the NFL with the Saints, Chicago Bears, Atlanta Falcons, St. Louis Rams, and the Indianapolis Colts from 1988 to 1998.
Yeah, I don't remember him, but he played just about as long as Barry Sanders did.
Yeah, I haven't heard of too many people that got their nickname from their mother. But yeah, you take a pool cue over the head and you don't even flinch. You got
So he came home from the
pretty
bar
hard
that
head.
night, and she's just like, "Way to go, Ironhead," and it just stuck.
Well, I don't think it was a bar. I think it was a pool hall because he was pretty young at the time. So I don't think they let him into a bar. But pool hall might have been.
Hey, he
a
could have
little
been
bit different.
hustling. We don't know.
Who knows? I don't know. The next person on our list is quarterback Jack Thompson, who was known as the Throwin' Samoan. I love that nickname. He got his nickname from a sports writer from the Spokane Sportsman Review in reference to his Samoan heritage. He played his college football at Washington State. He was the third overall pick in the 1979 NFL draft by the Cincinnati Bengals. He played 6 NFL seasons. He was with the Bengals from 79 to 82 and the Tampa Bay Bucs in 83 and 84. I love the rhyme, the Throwin' Samoan.
That's
really, really, really good. I don't know if they mentioned the sports writer's name that gave him that nickname, but just the paper that he worked for. Here's a guy that you've probably seen before. Although I'm not sure if you.
I'm
remember.
very familiar with.
Running back Elbert Icky Woods.
The Icky Shuffle.
Yep. He got the nickname as a child again when his own brother could not pronounce Elbert. Woods played college football at UNLV. He was a second-round pick in the 1988 NFL draft by the Cincinnati Bengals. Again, 2 people on our list that both played for the Bengals or drafted by the Bengals. He played just 4 NFL seasons, all with the Bengals from 88 to 91. As a rookie, he ran for 1,066 yards and 15 touchdowns, helping to lead Cincinnati to Super Bowl 23, where they lost to the San Francisco 49ers. And he's most famous for his touchdown dance, the Icky Shuffle, and he was featured in a 2014 Geico commercial. You remember this one, where he's standing in line waiting to get some cold cuts. They call his number, and he's going to get some cold cuts, and he's doing the Icky Shuffle dance.
You and your love of commercials is very odd.
When I was writing this up, I was going to say he was in a Geico commercial a few years ago, and then I looked it up online, found out that was 2014. My gosh, that's almost 10 years ago.
Almost 10 years ago.
I can't, because they're still showing it.
Are they? I haven't seen that commercial forever.
I've seen it within the last month or two.
I'm at that age where I don't watch a whole lot of TV. I mainly just watch streaming. And
all you millennials.
I make sure to pay to not get ads.
You watch everything on a streaming service. You don't watch regular TV, so you don't see the cool commercials like I do.
Yeah, the cool commercials.
All right, next on our list is running back Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare.
Sounds like a comic book character. It's great.
He got the nickname from his Kansas City Chiefs teammate, Irv Eatman. Okoye played college football at NAIA Azusa Pacific. He had never played football until he went to college, and then he started playing college football. But obviously he did so well that he was selected in the second round of the 1987 NFL draft by the Kansas City Chiefs. He played 6 seasons in the NFL, all with Kansas City, from 1987 to 1992. He led the NFL in rushing in 1989 with 1,480 yards, beating out Barry Sanders by just 10 yards.
Ooh.
I remember that season. I think Wayne Fonts was the coach. It seems like I remember the story of Wayne Fonts saying he had a chance to go in. Hey, Barry, you only need 10 yards, 11 yards to set the new record, or be the top runner this year. And Barry said, "That's okay. I don't need to go in. We got the game won." So he didn't go in.
Yeah.
But by 10 yards, it's all. All right, and finally on our list, linebacker and punter Edward Wahoo McDaniels.
Okay, with a nickname like Wahoo, you better be a linebacker and a punter. Like, that is awesome.
He got the nickname because of his Native American heritage. It seems to be the theme, the Throwin' Samoan, the Nigerian Nightmare.
Yeah, this week it seems like you went with a lot of heritage.
Well, it wasn't planned that way, but that's the way it worked out, yeah. He played college football at Oklahoma and signed with the American Football League's Houston Oilers in 1960, where he won an AFL title in his rookie season. In 1961, he began a side career as a professional wrestler under the name Chief Wahoo McDaniels. And I remember him, for many years I knew him as a professional wrestler. He was wrestling against Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage and all those guys. And he'd come down to the ring with a huge, Indian headdress on, and then he'd take it off and get into the ring. But yeah, I knew him as a wrestler before I knew he ever played in the NFL. But in 61, he began a side career as a professional wrestler under the name Chief Wahoo McDaniels during the football offseason. He also played for the Denver Broncos, the New York Jets, and the Miami Dolphins during his AFL career from 1960 to 1968. He was so well known as a wrestler that the AFL allowed him to use the name Wahoo on the back of his football jersey beginning in 1964. So, yeah, there's some great pictures. In fact, we did a history lesson about this, and it was called Before He Hate Me, There Was Wahoo. And, I don't think any other player in the NFL or AFL, well, of course, the NFL didn't have names on the backs of their jerseys, but I think he was the only one in the AFL that had, a nickname on his back because he was so well known. Whenever McDaniels made a tackle as a linebacker, the public address announcer at Shea Stadium would say, "Tackle made by guess who?" And the crowd responded by yelling, "Wahoo!" So maybe he'll be on an episode of Scooby-Doo and guess who? It's Wahoo. I think he's passed away.
Wow, way to bring that one back around.
I do believe Wahoo McDaniels has passed away. But he continued to wrestle professionally through 1996.
Dang.
So that's it. To recap, our nicknames this week: Wahoo McDaniel, Christian Okoye, the Nigerian Nightmare, Elbert Icky Woods, quarterback Jack Thompson, the Throwin' Samoan, and Craig Ironhead Hayward. And that's it for our history lesson this week.
Wow, 8 parts.
8 parts, yeah. So 40 different. We did 5 each week. So, yeah, that's a good list. I'm going to turn my attention to team nicknames in the next few weeks. I've got a few other ones I'm going to do before we start that one. But, yeah, we're going to do some team nicknames in the future. All right, so upcoming events. This Saturday, October 29th, the CFL regular season comes to an end.
Ooh.
Sunday, October 30th, the Denver Broncos versus the Jacksonville Jaguars at Wembley Stadium in London.
Ooh.
That's going to be a 9:30 a.m. kickoff.
Snooze fest.
And it's only going to be on ESPN+.
Yeah, so make sure you get that subscription.
Yep. That way you can see Eli and Peyton's spooky adventure, too.
Yeah.
Sunday, November 13th, Seattle Seahawks versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Munich, Germany. Another 9:30 a.m. kickoff, and that is going to be on the NFL Network. Sunday, November 20th, the CFL Grey Cup championship game. I believe that is the 109th Grey Cup game. Is going to take place in Saskatchewan, and you can catch that on ESPN. And finally, on our list, it's Monday night, November 21st, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Arizona Cardinals in Mexico City. That's an 8:15 Monday night football game kickoff on ESPN.
All right.
And that's it for the upcoming events calendar. So that's everything for this week. Unless you have something else you want to bring up.
We are all good. Bring it home.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for this week. If you learned something during this podcast about the incredible amount of diversity that exists in the world of football, then we've done our job. Visit our website at theworldoffootball.com for news, links, upcoming events, original articles, videos, and more. Our email address is info@theworldoffootball.com.
You can also like The World of Football on Facebook at TWOF Kalamazoo. You can also follow us on Twitter. The address is at TWOF Kalamazoo. New episodes of this podcast are posted on Tuesdays and are available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and YouTube. Our YouTube channel is The World of Football Kalamazoo, so please subscribe, rate, review, give us a like, leave a comment, let us know what you think, and please come be a part of the football conversation.
And remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than we do. Until next time, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm glad he finally picked up the energy. This episode would have been a real bummer.
Hey, you were the one that was over there yawning to begin this episode.
Yeah, well, maybe if you would have came in with some energy, or probably would. Yeah, I don't know what it is. I get over here after coming straight from work. So hey, I've had a long day. What have you done but sit around and put this script together?
Yeah, just scroll up and down on this script, and you'll see what I've been doing all day long today. All the news, all the
seeing a lot of empty white spaces between these paragraphs I'm scrolling through.
Yeah. We'll see you all next week.